We are going to be spotlighting a book, one that has a caption that got me really thinking. Is it possible not to be happy about hurt? Some of us run away from being in that situation. How can you build resilience so that you can be happy even when you are hurt and you move past it? This book rather tells a story of resilience, tells a story of overcoming and healing. It is an interesting one, and I am honored to have joining me today the author of this book. She is so much. She's a nurse. She is an apostle of the Word of God. She is also an author. We'll get to hear her story in the next half hour. She is Simi Obe-Majesty, joining us from Texas, US. It's wonderful to have you join us.
Thank you so much.
Right. The joy of being hurt. That right there was a caption that I could not get past. I kept thinking about it, the joy of being hurt. Before we get into other parts, let's just get straight to this book. Why did you think it was necessary to pen down your thoughts?
Well, just like the caption says, the joy of being hurt, everybody has, I've always asked, this caption is scary. How did you get to this point? What is the book about and everything? Yes, it's about embracing your pain, embracing your hurt, and turning it into something that can become a lesson for many or an example for people to follow. For instance, we all cry about pain, but pain helps us to find out what's going on somewhere. If you have a headache, for instance, it's not like your head is bad. It just points to something going on within your head or your entire body, for that matter. So that pain points to something that needs to be checked. And when you check it, you can find solution to the problem that is going on. So it's something to be happy about if you can feel pain. Those who have leprosy don't feel pain. That's why they can burn their fingers. So you are lucky to feel pain, and it shows that you are alive. It shows that you have a hope for a solution to come. So this is a book that talks about my pain when I went through a marriage that was not palatable, abusive, and all kinds of stuff. Coming out with so many, emotional disturbances, trouble in my head that did not point to something good. I found myself losing who I was because I came out of it. But for every time that I learned something or I got someone telling me, hey, you're great at this, it brought me to a point of, I didn't know I had something inside of me, because all I could heard in the previous 7 years of that marriage was, you can amount to nothing, you are nothing, you are this, you are that, and everything I heard was negative. So when you hear something positive about yourself, you realize that there's something inside of you that you never knew.
Absolutely.
So the joy of being hurt brings about that kind of, I didn't know that my hurt could actually turn me into a great person. I'm actually great. There's something inside of me that can be useful to someone. Yeah.
And this story, this what you just shared now, is just about you to be what a lot of women in our men have also relationships, in marriages as well. A lot are stuck in that. What's the danger of still being in that space for so long and feeling like there is no way out of your situation?
Yes, if I heard you correctly, because the line wasn't very clear your question. I know you're talking about people who are still in an abusive relationship and stuck with it and all that. Good. If I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have stayed long enough in that place. One of the things that I figured out was If God was not on my side and I was not, someone who had to stay to pass a message to people, I may have lost my life in the process.
Wow.
So the danger of staying in that place is you could lose your life. The children that we all cry to stay around and make sure our children are okay and all of that stuff, because I've counseled some women, who hide behind the scene and go like, hi, Simi, I don't know how you did it, but look, I'm going through this, I get beaten up by this man and all that. And when you encourage them to leave, they're afraid of starting from the scratch. They're also afraid of losing their kids or someone else taking care of their children and their children suffering in the hands of another woman. But one of the things I tell them is, you have to be alive to have these children, right?
Absolutely.
If you are not alive, they will not be there.
Absolutely.
I always tell people, I'm not an advocate for divorce, but I always warn people to stay alive. Do all you can to be alive.
Exactly.
If you are dying, die your own natural death, die your own death, but do not die in the hands of a man or a woman. These things go all both ways.
True.
Because I've seen men being abused too. I'm not kidding. If you don't have to be where you're going to lose your life.
That's true.
You don't have to be there, because the children you are talking about, or whatever you're afraid of starting, alive. Because most people are afraid of starting from the scratch. I started from the scratch. I lost everything. Not just my kids, but everything we built together. After being withdrawn from school and I couldn't further my education, under the guise of, I don't want you to suffer, you're pregnant now, you just need to stay and take care of yourself, you can always go back to school. When it was time to go back to school, guess what he did? Nope, you're not going anywhere. It dawned on me after a few trials that this man didn't want me to get back to school.
Wow.
He seized my economic power. He wanted to keep me under his own power. So when you see people like that, they have a plan. And their plan for you is not good. So
wow.
there is something about starting from the scratch. Mm-hmm. It gives you an opportunity to find yourself, especially when you have lost everything. You fall from the sky, you go down to the ground, you can start again. And most people don't want to do that. But I promise you that this is something that is doable. If you are a man, you are a woman, you can always do it again.
You can always do it again.
Because it's about you. Yes, it's about what is inside of you. It's not about what people think or say of you.
But I mean, you are in the US at the moment. I know help is often easier than some of us back here in Africa. When you come here and you see that some women are so traumatized that they need therapy and they cannot afford it, or do not even know how, or do not even know they need it. So when you come and see all these things, how do you feel knowing that help can just be a step away?
Let me shock you. This happened in Nigeria in 2006.
Wow.
When the marriage finally ended. It was a marriage that started in 1999 and ended in 2006. In 2006, I was only 26 years old, going on 27. And I had already had 3 children.
Wow.
And all this happened in Nigeria. That's why I came back home to launch that book. So people don't think that it happened here. Now, at the time I got out of that, I finally, found the courage, because I didn't have the courage to leave initially.
Yeah.
Just like most women. I didn't have the courage. And I couldn't turn to anyone because the fear of, you don't want to bring shame to the family, you don't want to do this, got me all worried, because the things they tell you when you get married in that African society, especially in Benue, where I come from, they tell you, your husband is always right, you can never say this, you can never do that. All those things were the kind of advice that we got from home. And getting into marriage, I thought, okay, yes, that's what they said, so stick to it. I was only 20 when I got married. What did I know? So being in this situation, I didn't know what to do. Plus, help was nowhere, just like you said. There was no help. So by the time I left, I had a dream growing up, and the dream was to become a doctor like my late father. So when I stepped out, I started finding myself again, and I said, I need to get back to school. At that time, getting admission into school was hard. Even the resources. My parents would have supported me, but at that time I didn't want them to feel bad. They were old. I didn't want them to feel bad that I never did anything for myself. They trained everyone in school, and I left, got married, and now I'm coming back to be a burden. I didn't want to do that. So I took it upon myself to find a way. I went to my brothers, sought help from them, and I thought of different things. I tried, got admission into School of Nursing, basic nursing. I did it in Nigeria, in Abuja to be precise. I did everything, took JAM, did all I could. Once I got this admission, I went back to school straight up, and I started struggling with, finding myself in school, moving around, looking out for my children, whom they had taken away from me forcefully.
Wow.
And it was my breaking point. The point of not having access to my kids was the biggest problem that I had. That pain was actually my driving force. I knew, because when I studied the man, when I understudied him, I was young, but I had something upstairs. When I understudied him, I knew my children would need my help in the future. So my thought was, hey, you need to start working out for these kids. They need you tomorrow. So I began to put myself through all kinds of jobs I did. There was nothing I didn't do, including driving cab in Abuja.
Wow.
Include everything. There was nothing I didn't do. I was a student nurse, and at that time I had become like a glorified high school girl, because that school never lets you do anything. You can't even leave off of the school campus. So I couldn't, my hands were tied, but I still found a way around it. How I would run some business with friends, and then I would jump to the airport once in a while to head to Lagos to see my children. Sometimes it was my last kobo.
Wow.
I would buy ticket, go to Lagos to just peep at my kids through their school fence. Sometimes just to peep at them, because he would leave strict instructions in the schools that I couldn't see them. He had no legal right to keep them away from me, but I still wanted to be in touch with them.
Mm-hmm.
I got beaten up going to see the kids when I was caught, and the kids got beaten up too for seeing me. So I had to find a way around all this. But inside of every woman, there's something there. God didn't create us with a womb to carry babies.
Exactly.
Without giving us a brain to do something.
Exactly.
So it doesn't really mean that there's something inside of you. And the same goes for a man. Men were created, and they were meant to be leaders. And so if God created you, he left something inside of you. So I knew that I could become something. And my father was also a very strong support. His words of encouragement were the biggest things I had. And I had a family friend who once told me something, and I never forgot it. She said, your best revenge is your success. And so I did not think of revenge. I did not think of fighting back at some point, because first of all, I couldn't even afford a lawyer. So I channeled all my energy into fighting to become who I became.
Now, how would you say?
I started practicing nursing in Nigeria. I practiced nursing in Nigeria for 7 years, running business along the line and everything. So it's not like I started here in the United States.
Well, let's talk about your
I just found myself.
Let's talk about healing. Let's talk about healing, because a lot of us go about our business carrying so much trauma. Did you seek help, or what helped you heal? It takes a lot to heal from the stories you just told. I'm here listening to you and I'm almost emotional. I can only imagine what you had to go through to see your kids, to peep at your kids. That must be very, very traumatic. However, what made you heal to a place where you are not bitter? Life challenges now you don't project what you have faced on new people, on people you meet now, or your relationship.
Okay, so the healing aspect of life is something that is individualized.
Okay.
I never got help because we don't have therapists, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, while I was in this whole trauma, I had attempted suicide because it got to a point I felt like, if I go out of this marriage, where am I going to? Because everything I heard was negative. And he never got me help. I never got help from anywhere. But this was one thing that kept working inside of me. There is a power inside of you that you can always tap into.
Absolutely.
I was raised in church, and I knew God quite early. So each time, even in my trauma, I would still run back to God. I would cry to him, and I thought he was not there. But after a while, I knew, because the times I got beaten up and I got hospitalized and I could have died, I knew that if God was not there, I wouldn't have made it.
That's true.
So yes, I drew my strength from the Spirit of God. I drew my strength from studying of the Bible, spending time meditating on His Word, singing worships. I love to sing, and that heals me in a very, very miraculous way.
Right.
Once I worship, I listen to worships, I get this strength. So going through it, I was, while I was trying to get back to school, get, business going, saving money, planning life and all that, I drew my strength from the Spirit of God.
Okay.
So my healing basically came from there, and I was in the midst of surgery.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We're really running out of time. So I'd like to know, you launched your foundation as well. And how would you like to have, how can people get access to this? It's a must read, really. How do you hope to reach more people to read this book, especially in Africa?
Yes, I launched it in Nigeria, and we printed an unedited copy in Nigeria. However, for those who globally, we're launching in July with Trilogy, a TBN publishing company. Trilogy is, we're going to be launching it globally, and people can have access to them. Both soft copies and hard copies are going to be in the air. But right now, we have a link from the Tobe Charity Foundation, which was launched on that day. Every proceed of the book is going into that foundation, because that is why it was linked. That's why I linked it together, because that's where I'm raising my initial fund for this foundation. And if you go to Facebook or Instagram and find Dr. Obe-Charity Foundation, you can always link up with us and get copies of the book.
Oh,
once the global copy is launched, you can always access it from Amazon and other handles that we're going to be displaying in July.
Most importantly, for someone who's listening to you right now and I'm thinking, oh, she's done it, I can do it, what more can you say to encourage that person?
That's the only thing. She's done it and I can do it. The hurt is not for you to stay there. It's for you to find solution. It's for you to find what you can do with yourself. What is it that is inside of me that can bring something out? What do I have? What power do I have? Is it my ability to get back to school? Is it my ability to get into some business? Is it my ability to wait, especially if it's my children? Is it my ability to think of what their tomorrow will be and be strong for them? Look inside of you. There's something there to hold on to. I promise you, you will never miss it. There's something in there. And most importantly, turn to God and hold on to Him, because He has the power to heal every broken heart.
Thank you so much, Simi Obe-Majesty, for sharing that. I would also have to pick a copy and read it. I can resonate with a lot of things you're saying, and a lot of women in Nigeria have these issues and stories to tell as well. But it takes God to put yours out there. So I congratulate you and thank you, while also wishing you all the best in the work that you do.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Joy. It was a pleasure. Have a good day.
And have a good day too. So this is it for Joy Asanya Live, this edition. I hope you have learned so much. We've just finished the conversation with Simi Obe-Majesty. She's the author, The Joy of Being Hot. I urge you to go pick a copy and read it as well. I'm sure there's so much to learn from that. But this is where we draw the curtains. I hope you have a restful evening from here, me from Nigeria. I am Dr. Joy Asanya.